job. You were able to regroup yourselves and be here this afternoon. Christina Cuthbertson, who is the curator in the art gallery here, has kindly agreed to meet with us today to talk about these two exhibitions. We're looking at, review topics at this point, and you have the first review on hand, Bloodless and Boneless. So we now have 3 exhibitions to look at, so there will be, some choice for the total of the 3 reviews, with the weekend to meet at the University Art Gallery and the 2 exhibitions here. So you will have some choice for, 2 out of those 3 to make up all the total of the 3 review assignments. I should say as well that Christina Cuthbertson is actually the curator of the solo exhibition by painter Cale. You heard her talk as well as the collaborationists when they were here during the week before the exhibition opening, so a week or so ago. And Christina has done a number of exhibitions at the gallery here. I guess this is your first major... It's my first opportunity to work with a living artist. Working with a living artist and doing a solo show of a specific body of work with painter Cale. So, she is, the person to be talking about this exhibition. The Southern Alberta Art Gallery is also involved in organizing the collaborationists. So, Christina has been close to that exhibition project as well. And so this will just, give us a chance to tour these exhibitions together and have some conversation with Christina about the 2 shows. So anyway, thanks very much for being with us.
Well, as Victoria mentioned, this is one of my first opportunities to curate a show by a living artist here at the gallery, and it has been an absolute pleasure to work with Cale. So just a quick show of hands, who's been to the gallery before? Most of you, that's great. And also a quick show of hands, who made it to Sarah's talk? So most of you did, again. So maybe I'll start by asking one of you to describe what you understand of Sarah's process. The steps that she goes through to create a painting. This is a really important part of her work. Maybe one of you can venture what steps she takes to do that. Be brave.
So she rolls out a sheet of plastic and then paints brushstroke upon that sheet of plastic, waits for it to dry, and Sarah peels them off and uses it to collage them as she applies it to the canvas for her.
Perfect. Can anyone guess why she might do that?
To have the paintbrush strokes going in ways that are not conventional to actual painting.
Yeah. And why would you want to create a painting in a way that isn't conventional to regular painting? That's a tricky one. And, it's something that I think a lot of painters struggle with. And it's something that I certainly struggled with when I was a student and I was trying to tackle this idea of painting. In art history, painting is this topic that is so overwrought. It's got this complex history. People have gone so far as to say painting is dead. So you can imagine as a young painter in art school, it's probably pretty intimidating to try and deal with painting, to try and talk about painting, to try and use paint in a way that isn't going to be just a repetition of what other artists and painters have already done. When Sarah was asked this question, why do this? Why go through all of this trouble to create a brushstroke, remove it from its surface, put it on another surface, and call that a painting? Why bother? It seems like an awful lot of trouble. And she's interested in a couple of things. One is this history of abstract expressionism. So you guys probably all encountered paintings where you see it looks kind of messy and it's gestural, and you can imagine the artist using, their arm and creating these strokes on the surface of the painting. And she was interested in that type of painting and that history of painting, but wanted to figure out a way in the back door. Think about what it means to create a brushstroke. in a lot of ways, you think about a brushstroke as this immediate, emotional, something that happens in the moment. And by removing all of that, by taking it away from that kind of emotional, instant process, she is trying to, create something that talks about that while being something else. Does that make sense to everybody? So how do you think that relates to collage? This idea of collage. Who's made a collage before? Everybody's probably made a collage in their, in their high school art class. Same thing with the collage. Often you're thinking about quickly and instinctually tearing pieces of paper, cutting pieces of paper, putting them down beside each other on a surface to create something new out of those bits of fragments that are already available in your life. So in both cases, we have a brush stroke and we have a collage, these things that may seem immediate or spontaneous, and she's really slowed them down. She's made them very calculated. She has completely subverted the way that you would normally think about and use those two mediums. Are there any thoughts or questions of her practice and the way that she works in her studio? So you might imagine the type of informal little things that happen in her studio. Like, it's interesting that Morgan pointed out this painting because it started as I'm just going to put all my leftover pieces on this piece of canvas. And then something started happening for her where she created this tangible object, this painting, this commodity. And so there's a part of her that feels like something is lost. That moment it becomes a tidy, stretched canvas. She feels, a little less connected to it in a way. But, it's a necessary part of her reality. So being able to create something actually on the wall in the gallery was a really special experience for her. All of the works in this exhibition are relatively new. These three were created in advance of Sarah's spring exhibition at Jessica Bradley Art Gallery. And so you can see in these ones that she has used in some ways, a more obvious technique in that she's collaged large areas onto the surface. But what she's done in these, which is different from the rest of the piece, is that she's returned to a traditional method of paint application. And so you can see in some of these pieces where paint has been applied back to the surface.
I think they hold the attention a bit longer because I found myself trying to compare how the shapes would fit together. It looks almost like it's a collage.
Like a bit of a puzzle.
Yeah, it's disassembled from a whole. And just trying to see how the pieces fit together, like the strips of collage paint fit into cut out circles of canvas. So just hold my attention.
Yeah. I heard people talk about them in that they remind them of sort of a mid-century design. Mid-century tablecloths, housewares, that kind of thing. And I think it's maybe because of both the palette, but that use of that, those geometric shapes put together. Did you have other thoughts on this? Do you like something? Sorry?
Yeah. Certainly they allude to that, and the idea of using more traditional painting practice, integrating that into her, kind of collage process that she has. And, it's interesting because I think the other ones, with the kind of focus on the process that, there's almost not ingratiating color. There are kind of little color in the works. And thinking about, something from mid-century that was like black and white, not kind of attractive in that way. Using on colors. It's an interesting.
Yeah, it's an interesting shift.
Yeah, bigger and geometric forms as opposed to forms that were defined by the shapes, the outlines, the brush strokes, yeah.
Should we head downstairs? Any other questions?